I'm Abimbola, and I believe time healed all wounds. I was wrong, some wounds never fade. They wait quietly. And one day, they return, touching the one you love most. That day began like every other ordinary Saturday in our compound in Ibadan. The kind of Saturday that carried no warning. The sun rose gently, not harsh yet, and the early morning air was still cool enough to make sweeping the compound feel peaceful. I had woken before dawn, as usual. Old habits die hard. When you spend most of your life struggling, your body learns to wake up before hope does. I swept the compound slowly, listening to the sound of the broom against the concrete, saying a quiet prayer with each stroke. By the time I finished, my wrapper was already damp with sweat. I washed my face, tied my headscarf properly, and went into the kitchen. The radio was playing softly. Some old Yoruba song about patience, destiny, and how the road of life bends before it straightens. I remember shaking my head and smiling faintly. Songs always made life sound easier than it truly was. I was preparing egusi soup, cutting vegetables carefully, my thoughts drifting. My daughter, Damilola, was in her final year at the university. She had called the night before, but she didn't mention coming home. I assumed she was busy with projects and exams. Still, something in me felt restless. A mother knows when something is shifting, even when she doesn't know what. That was when I heard the gate. It creaked open slowly, followed by footsteps and a familiar voice. "Mommy." My heart lifted instantly. "Oh," I replied, smiling without looking up. "Is that how you want to give me heart attack?" She laughed and ran into the kitchen, hugging me tightly from behind. "I missed you," she said. "I missed you too," I replied. "You should have told me you were coming. I wanted it to be a surprise." Her voice sounded happy, but her body felt tense. She didn't let go immediately. When she finally pulled back, I noticed it, the hesitation in her eyes. The careful breathing. The way she kept biting her lower lip. I turned fully to face her. "What is it?" I asked gently. She smiled again, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Mommy," she said, dragging the word, "I want you to meet someone." I paused. Meet someone. Those two words carry weight when spoken by a daughter raised by a single mother. I had prepared myself for this day mentally, but no preparation is ever enough. "Who?" I asked. She stood up straight. "He's outside." My hand tightened around the spoon I was holding. "Who is he?" I asked again. She inhaled deeply. "Someone important to me." Before I could respond, she walked toward the sitting room and opened the door wider. "You can come in now," she called. That was when he stepped inside. Tall. Calm. Well composed. He wore a simple shirt and trousers, nothing flashy. His shoes were clean but not expensive looking. He didn't walk like someone trying to impress. He walked like someone who understood respect. "Good afternoon, Ma," he said, bowing slightly. I nodded slowly. "Good afternoon." He smiled politely. "My name is Connor Adiemi." The room went silent. For a moment, nobody moved. Adiemi. That name had lived inside me for decades, locked away with memories I never spoke of. Hearing it out loud felt like reopening a grave I had sealed with my bare hands.
Hello, ma'am.
"Adiemi," I repeated slowly. "Yes, Ma." My heart began to pound. "Who is your father?" He hesitated. Just briefly. Long enough for my chest to tighten. "Chieftain Adiemi," he said quietly. The word tilted. I felt dizzy. My ears rang. The room seemed to shrink, closing in on me. Chieftain Adiemi. The man who shattered my marriage. The man who smiled while my husband drowned. The man whose name I swore would never cross my lips again. The past rushed back violently. I was no longer standing in my sitting room. I was standing in a courtroom, clutching old documents, watching lawyers speak words I barely understood. I was sitting on a bed, holding my husband as he cried, his shoulders shaking with shame. I was standing over his grave, wondering how greed could kill a man faster than sickness. Damilola, I said sharply, go inside. She looked confused. Mommy. Go. Inside. Now. She obeyed reluctantly, walking into her room. I turned to Connor. You, I said, pointing toward the gate, leave my house. He looked shocked. Ma, please. Leave before I shout. He swallowed, nodded, bowed slightly. Yes, Ma. He turned and walked out quietly, closing the gate behind him with care, as though he feared even the sound might offend me. The moment the gate closed, my daughter rushed back. What is wrong with you? She cried. Why would you do that? I looked at her, anger and pain mixing in my chest. You brought the son of that man into my house, I said. Do you know what his father did to us? She shook her head. You never told me. I laughed bitterly. Because some pains are too heavy to give to your child. She wiped her tears angrily. Mommy, Connell is not his father. I snapped back. Blood does not forget. That night, we slept under the same roof, but it felt like we lived in different worlds. The days that followed were tense and quiet. Damilola stopped talking freely. She answered questions with short responses. She avoided my eyes. When she went out, she didn't tell me where she was going. The house that once felt warm became cold. One evening, she stood before me. Mommy, she said calmly, I love him. I didn't respond. I know you are angry, she continued. But he is not his father. I finally looked at her. I raised you alone, I said. I suffered so you wouldn't beg. And you bring the enemy's son into my life. She dropped to her knees. Please, she begged. Listen to me. I sighed heavily. Talk. She told me how they met during her industrial training. How Connor was kind, hardworking, respectful. How he supported his mother and younger siblings because his father abandoned them years ago. That surprised me. Abandoned? I asked. She nodded. He remarried and left them with nothing. Connor hasn't spoken to him in years. Something shifted in my chest, but my pride stood firm. I don't care, I said. That family destroyed us. She stood up slowly. If you force me to choose, she said quietly, I will choose love. That night, I couldn't sleep. Weeks passed. Stress settled into my body like poison. My blood pressure rose. My chest hurt. One morning, I collapsed. At the hospital, I saw him again. Connor. He paid bills quietly. Brought fruits. Sat at a distance. When he finally spoke, his voice was steady. I know who my father is, he said. I know what he did. I'm not here to defend him. I'm only asking you not to punish me for his sins. He bowed deeply. If you tell me to leave your daughter, I will. But please know, she is safe with me. I said nothing. But something broke. Weeks later, Chief Adeyemi himself came to my gate. Old. Grey. Alone. He confessed. He cried. He begged. I didn't forgive him. But I released the anger. Today, my daughter is married to Connor. I attended the wedding without joy, but with peace. And every time I watch him treat my daughter with respect, I understand something I never thought I would. Children should not inherit the woes of their parents. And sometimes, love arrives to heal what hatred destroyed.